as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. Trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the market recap. It's Tuesday, May the 17th. I feel like I haven't seen anybody in like a week. I had a couple of technology issues. I've taken care of them for now. Apparently I've caught the gremlin, at least for now. So hopefully that's going to maintain for a little while. As always, looking forward to seeing how the trading day ended up today. We didn't get the chance to talk this morning, so I'll just kind of take a look at what happened today and maybe have a couple of thoughts about what we're looking at for tomorrow morning. We should be solid for the forecast and the recap for the rest of the unknown forward, but we're always trying to improve, and sometimes that doesn't work that well. So we're going to keep continuing to try and improve. As far as the news today, everything was largely about Jay Powell, a lot of talk about Twitter and Elon Musk and all that whole mess. It's a bit of a soap opera, it seems, although it is going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. But apparently, UFOs might be real. The government kind of admitted that possibly today. Released some of the videotape and some of the pictures that they have of it. One thing my son said to me one time was, I don't know what's scarier, if there are UFOs or if there aren't and we're really alone. So I guess we're going to find out one of these days, but hopefully not today. As far as Powell was concerned, inflation, he says inflation is too high. Okay, we've got that. He says he's not going to hesitate to go past neutral. Rates are probably going to reach normal level in Q4 of this year. He says it's good to see markets responding to the things that they're doing. And it's difficult for him to think about giving forward advice. You got to see how things kind of go. Markets, after he started speaking, knee-jerked to the downside and then recovered nicely by the end of the session. Speaking of the session, as far as the markets today, crude oil was kind of a range-bound day as volume rolls into July. Tomorrow morning, we'll be looking at July charts, be trading July. Looked like the volume pretty much evened out between the June and July contracts today, so that means tomorrow I'll start looking into the July contract. The E-mini S&Ps finds acceptance above weekly kickoff high. The Nasdaq did not succeed at that, but follows just behind the ES in that regard. And gold overlapping higher. The gap just kind of a close, overlapped higher. The euro, no gap close, but not a lot of momentum either. We're going to see that in the charts. The 10-year rates kind of pushing back towards 3% on that 10-year. Bear flag seems to have gotten a breakout in the overnight and a little bit of continuation of that after the open today. And natural gas prices test weekly kickoff high on low rollover volume. Nat gas is due to roll next week, either Monday or Tuesday. So we're dealing with a lot of rollovers for the next few weeks until we get through the equity rollover, which is the second Thursday of June. Hard to say we're talking about June already. Hard to believe. I got to see. Finally, good to see everybody. Tachyon, good to see you. Scott Saw, and hopefully you conquer. James, good to see you. Binge watch Trading in the Zone workshop. Clarified a lot for me. I was going in the direction that money is a byproduct. Now I'm certain. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. How was the patience today? I've heard of trading in the zone before. I haven't gotten to look into it yet. Yeah, it's available on I think YouTube actually. Good parts of it. It's a great book. I've got Trading in the Zone and the Disciplined Trader, the Mark Douglas books, right over here behind me. My only concern at the moment is doing my best to be disciplined and stick to my plan. It is so difficult to do so. But I think once you get a good start, once you get a little bit of a toehold, and you begin to appreciate, even if your plan doesn't work on a given day, that you are following your plan. I think it's a muscle, and the longer you work that muscle, the stronger it's going to get. Dan, good to see you. 2 days in a row now. The bulk of the rally happened in Globex, and then we settled near the regular trading hour first 30-second open. We've got P&L will come, yep, to try and watch it. The only plan I ever have is start every day, assuming I will be wrong. Not a bad idea. Start every day from zero, too. Start every day from zero. You're not here to risk everything you have. So that means start every day small and add to it after getting new information from the market. Good afternoon, Spencer. Good to see you, Dan, again. Vince, if they admitted about UFOs, maybe they'd finally admit they have a market toggle switch. Yeah, I don't think they're making money on UFOs, so they don't care about that yet. Good afternoon, Frederico, Bill Phillips, Glitter Sandwich. Good afternoon. It's my pleasure, Glitter. Dan Emmons with Globex rallies 2 days in a row and then don't go anywhere during regular trading hour sessions. It's a change in market character. Seems like it's a you first market, as in I want you to buy, but I want to buy, but you first. I think a lot of folks are probably feeling that way. Thank you, Vince, Kyle, Charles. I have to trade a bit of Globex because in England, the trading hours suck for me. The U.S., I'm sure regular trading hours with you and work and hobbies for sure. Patience again today. Couple small wins. Joe, good to see you. Getting closer to passing my second combine. Good job. Got way down close to stop about 5 weeks ago, fighting myself back. Nice job, Joe. Nice job. If you watch the market, if you watch the coach's playbook today, that's really what it was about, is trying to dig yourself out of those holes instead of always hitting that reset. We don't want you to hit the reset. It's there if you need it, but like Dad said, the hardest steel comes from the hottest forge. You find yourself up against a wall like that, and you can dig yourself out. It does a lot for mental capital and for confidence. Nice job, Joe. Sonny, good to see you as well. It's good to see everybody. Finally, again. And again, my apologies for the technical difficulties. I found one of the little gremlins here. He's a feisty little one here, but I've got this one. I have a feeling there's another one around, and I'm going to have to find him too. There always seems to be a gremlin around when you don't need it. Let's jump and take a look at the charts. I don't even know where I'm at on these. Let's go left to right today. We'll start with the daily and crude. All right, so we didn't get to talk about this morning, but we had some fundamental information pushing price higher during rollover yesterday and in the overnight. We're at 7-week highs. Volume and open interest high, but it's blurry. We actually had some decent volume yesterday, volume off today, of course, because a lot of it is rolled into the July contract. But we added 15,000 in open interest. Again, that's a little blurry because it's rollover, but the market is in a position where it has some pretty good potential for some momentum building. If it wasn't rollover, I think we'd be looking at a little bit of a different situation. My thought was, I certainly don't want to fight any breakouts. Didn't really turn out to be much of a breakout today. We really kind of opened in range above value. We tested above to the overnight high, which was kind of rejected and brought price back into the value area, even relatively close to the value, to the weekly kickoff high, which I will be looking at tomorrow. If we still maintain above that as a potential supply, potential support area or demand area. Here's the E-mini S&Ps. My little buddies. All right, so this morning talking about how this pullback off these lows has appeared to be a little bit hollow, but now we're in a little bit of a different situation. The market has tested and seems to be accepting price above 40.48, which is weekly kickoff high. We've got some kind of sticky areas up here, this 40.86 level, which we are currently sitting right on. And last week's high are going to be somewhat barriers to our continuation to the upside. But accepting above weekly kickoff high and accepting above those, I think opens us up for quite a nice little move to the upside. That said, anything anybody says or does can throw a horseshoe into those plans. But we can't plan that. We just have to trade what we see and look for the opportunities to limit risk on anything that we do. Here's the 30. So we one time lower for 3 straight sessions. We took in Make Hogue Money, we took a short when we accepted down below the 40.48 level here, looking for a move down to the value high from yesterday. We never did quite get there. We took a small loss on that trade, and that's okay. We had a plan. I was just going to manage it as we planned it, and it didn't work out, and that's all right. So we put in the low here, a little bit of excess here. We kind of grind higher, one time frame very slowly higher. Then Powell starts to speak. Powell speaks. We knee jerk to the downside. But I think a lot of folks looking at this move back down below this inflection level back into range ended up getting themselves way too short in the hole here, and then the market returns and takes us back to the upside. Now 40.86 is that 15% off the all-time high level. Is that a technical level? No. Is it a visual level? Yes, and markets are extremely visual, so that's going to come into play for us probably tomorrow. Now, the Nasdaq, a very similar day, but a different situation. Similar markets, but different. Here's the daily. Largely more range bound. We haven't taken out the weekly kickoff high. This is the 25% off the all-time high, and then last week's high just above that. We haven't really succeeded in doing much here yet. We got a little bit higher volume. If we see an increase in open interest, that's going to encourage me to believe that maybe this market can get through this kind of. So if this was fishing, I would call this seaweed. With lots of things to get your hook stuck on the bottom with. Take a look at the 30. So very similar situation, except for a couple of different points. The Nasdaq did trade almost to the value high from yesterday after opening, one time framing lower. In the S&Ps, we left the opening range at the dead high for the first half of the session until we took it out. The Nasdaq wasn't so lucky. The Nasdaq looked at both sides of the opening range before looking down to check down to this previous day's value area high. Almost got to it, turned around, and then again rotated higher. But we've got a lot more space and a lot more to accomplish before I think we can really start to look at this market as showing some acceptance to the upside. Again, open interest tomorrow will be vital in that look. And we are coming into rollover. It's about 3 weeks away, maybe 4 weeks away in the equities, but we got to start remembering that the volume and open interest is going to be a little bit blurry. Gold I have not traded gold in a while. It may be time to start looking at it again. Good afternoon, Three Lions. Oh, wow. Walmart down 11.4%, biggest one-day decline in since. Wow. Well, they're a little bit concerned here, aren't they? So here's gold. Good excess. The weekly kickoff low yesterday. Only adding 300 in open interest. So there was a little bit hollow on that pullback off that low. Even in volume, it was kind of low. So we're kind of looking at today to see if we brought in some more volume. Doesn't really look like it. Volume is really slow, but we're coming into rollover again here in gold. So, there's a lot of blurriness in some of the things that I look at, and I have to remember that. We were opened with a gap. We had an attempt to move higher, just ended up really just kind of closing the gap by the end of the session, taking after the session down to this naked point of control to the downside. This is a very short time frame controlled day. The market was too long coming in, couldn't take out the overnight high. Trades back down to settlement. It's a very, very short time frame controlled day. Maybe some of our longer time frame gold traders are already active in the rollover, trying to make sure that they get a cheap rollover, which wouldn't you like a cheap rollover? All right. Here's the euro. This morning we were looking at how the volume had really dried up on those lows. You had that one big spike to the downside, low volume, a little bit higher volume today. Yesterday, we actually added 4,000 in open interest. This is still the approximate. That's not the actual, but should be close. So the only reason I think that this low may be in is because we've started to attract new buyers, new open interest off this low. It's not a big excess low. It's not a big tail at the bottom here. Now we've tested to weekly kickoff high. Let's look at the 30. So weekly kickoff high, there it is. We had gap, no close of the gap. We go in the direction of the gap, but we didn't really have much to do here. Basically, just hung around and closed this naked point of control and became range bound. We're in rollover in the currencies as well. Everything seems to be in rollover. Be careful about that. We're also in rollover, coming into rollover for treasuries, but today was, I think, maybe a little bit better of an opportunity. We've had this bear flag we've been kind of talking about, looking at, didn't really get to close below it yesterday. Today we've closed below it. We had rates creep back towards 3% for the 10-year. Here's the bear flag breaking out overnight, leaving the opening range at the dead high of the session and closing right near the low of the session. That makes sense to me. Some movement, not necessarily huge momentum, but some movement in the direction that I would be thinking. And now the nat gas, which traded straight to weekly kickoff high, 837 weekly kickoff high. We're seeing very low volume, but again, because we are in rollover. What did we do as far as open interest? We added 4,700 in open interest on a little bit higher volume yesterday. That's encouraging for a healthy upside auction. So the upside auction, though we're in rollover, appears to be somewhat healthy here in that gas. Here's the 30. We opened with a gap. We closed the gap. The gap found support. We found resistance at weekly kickoff high, and we just sat here. Maybe interesting just to see how this market responds tomorrow. But a straight shot to that weekly kickoff high level. So, it is good to be back with everybody. Let's see what else we've got as far as... I haven't looked at this day in history. We missed yesterday. We missed a few days here. Let's see. I like to go for the positive stuff. In 1965, the FBI laboratory weighs in on the dirty lyrics of Louie Louie. If there even are lyrics. Oh, this is kind of bad. In 2000, the final episode of Beverly Hills 90210 aired today in 2000. Excuse me, 2000. My goodness. As far as music is concerned, one of my favorite subjects. Taj Mahal's birthday is today. Bill Bruford from King Crimson, the drummer, it's his birthday today. Today is Simon Fuller's birthday. 1961, Enya, it's her birthday today. Huh. 1975, today was the first of 5 sold-out nights to 17,000 fans at Earl's Court Arena in London, England for Led Zeppelin. Whitney Houston in 1986 started a 3-week run at #1 on the U.S. singles chart with The Greatest Love of All, which I believe is actually a song written by Dolly Parton. Yeah, that's about enough. So, tomorrow, we've got housing starts and permits and the EIA petroleum status report. We got the API number coming out here in about 6 minutes. We can check that on our own. Just glad to be back with you. Glad to have things back working correctly here, and looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. So get a good night's sleep. Be good to each other. Be kind. Please say a prayer for peace everywhere. The whole world seems to be just up in arms and in a tantrum. So everybody just calm down, say a prayer for peace, and be good to each other. And be good to yourself, too. We work hard at this. We deserve that. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 7:45 sharp for the market forecast. Looking forward to seeing you there. Have a good night.